On November 30th, 2021, a tragic school shooting unfolded at Oxford High School in Michigan, leaving a devastating impact on the community. 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley opened fire, killing 4 students and injuring 7 others in a horrific act of violence. But the story doesn't end with just the shooter. Ethan Crumbley's parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley, have also found themselves at the center of this tragedy, charged with involuntary manslaughter for their alleged role in the shooting. The prosecutors have painted a chilling picture of the Crumbleys' actions, or lack thereof, in the leading up to the shooting. They argue that the Crumbleys failed to secure the gun used in the attack and did not address clear warning signs of their son's deteriorating mental state. What could drive parents to such callousness in the wake of a tragedy they are partly responsible for?
The boy's mother was asking a simple question: why?
How did we get to this point where a school shooting becomes entangled with allegations of parental indifference and cold-heartedness? In this video, we'll dive deep into the Crumbley case, exploring the events leading up to the Oxford High School shooting, the legal battle that followed, and prosecutors' scathing assessments of the parents' behavior. This is a story that challenges our notions of responsibility, accountability, and the complex web of factors that can contribute to such devastating acts of violence. The victims were Hannah St. Juliana, 14 years old, Madison Baldwin, 17 years old, Tate Meyer, 16, and Justin Schilling, 17, young lives tragically cut short by this senseless tragedy.
A 15-year-old has killed 3 fellow students and injured 8 others, including a teacher, in a high school shooting in the US state of Michigan.
In the days leading up to the shooting, Ethan Crumbley had made disturbing videos and journal entries detailing his plans to shoot up the school. On the morning of the attack, Ethan's parents were even called to the school after a teacher found a concerning note from him containing drawings of a gun, a person shot, and the phrases "blood everywhere" and "the thoughts won't stop, help me." Despite these clear warning signs, Ethan was allowed to return to class that day, and shortly after he carried out his horrific plan, opening fire on his classmates and teachers. Ethan Crumbley pleaded guilty to all charges and was sentenced to life in prison without parole, but the story doesn't stop there, as you know. With that, his parents James and Jennifer Crumbley have also found themselves involved in this. Prosecutors have charged the Crumbleys with involuntary manslaughter, arguing that they failed to secure the gun used in the attack and did not address the clear signs of their son's deteriorating mental health state. In February 2024, Jennifer Crumbley was convicted of these charges, and just a month later, a jury found her husband, James, guilty as well. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, the tragedy at Oxford High School made national headlines, sparkling widespread shocking and outrage. Local news outlets provided extensive coverage, with reporters on the scene describing the chaotic scene as the shooting unfolded. Experts were brought in to analyze the police response and how hospitals prepare for mass casualty in events like this. The community was devastated, with prayer vigils scheduled that same evening at local churches to mourn the victims. Aiden Page, a senior at the high school, recounted the terrifying experience of hiding in his classroom as the shooter opened fire just outside. The shooting added to the growing list of school gun violence incidents in the United States, with the Oxford High School attack being described as the deadliest of 2021, according to Education Week. As the investigation unfolded, the focus shifted to the alleged role of the shooter's parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley, who were later charged with involuntary manslaughter. This sparked further outrage and debate around the issue of parental responsibility, in such tragedies. The Oxford, Michigan community continues to grapple with the aftermath as families and friends mourn the victims and the school faces scrutiny over its handling of the warning signs prior to the shooting. However, what made this case even more shocking was the alleged role of the shooter's own parents. Prosecutors have painted a chilling picture of the Crumbleys' actions, or lack thereof, in the leading up to the shooting. In the days before the shooting, Ethan Crumbley had made disturbing videos and journal entries detailing his plans to shoot up the school. Despite these glaring red flags, the Crumbley allowed their son to return to class that day, and just hours later, Ethan carried out his horrific plan, opening fire on his classmates and teachers. In the aftermath, the Crumbleys were charged with involuntary manslaughter, with prosecutors arguing that their negligence and failure to act contributed directly to the tragedy. This raises a profound moral question. How could parents, in the wake of such devastating tragedy they were partly responsible for, exhibit such callousness and indifference? What does this say about the state of parental responsibility in our society? This case serves as a sobering reminder that the impact of school shootings extends far beyond the victims and their families. When parents fail to take responsibility for the warning signs and actions of their children, the entire community suffers the consequences. The Crumbleys' alleged chilling lack of remorse is a moral failing that compounds the tragedy at Oxford High School. As a society, we must grapple with how to foster a culture of parental accountability and ensure that no other community has to endure such heartbreak. For weeks during the trials, prosecutors in Michigan painted a damning portrait of the Crumbleys as parents who zoomed past red flags ahead of their son's deadly attack. Not only did they fail to secure the firearms in their home, but they also did not pursue reasonable care to prevent their son from engaging in harmful acts, prosecutors said. 4 days before the attack, James Crumbley bought the gun that his son, then 15 years old, would use in the murders. Prosecutors highlighted several indications that Ethan was experiencing severe mental health issues at the time, including hearing voices. On the day of the shooting, the parents were called to the school after their son drew threatening pictures in class, but they did not notify administrators they had recently purchased the gun, nor did they take Ethan home. Later that day, the teenager went to the restroom and returned brandishing the semi-automatic handgun. The tragic events of November 30, 2021 have left an indelible mark on the community and the nation as a whole. The shooter pleaded guilty to all charges and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Ethan's parents are facing their own legal consequences. The Crumbley case has set a significant legal precedent, marking the first time in U.S. history that parents have been found criminally responsible for manslaughter after their child committed a mass shooting. The verdict has sparked intense debates about the potential implications for future cases and the evolving landscape of parental liability. As a society, we must grapple with the complex web of factors that can contribute to such horrific acts of violence and the role that parents play in preventing them. The Crumbleys' alleged indifference in the face of their own culpability is a moral failing that compounds the tragedy of Oxford High School. Moving forward, the question remains: should parents be held accountable for the actions of their children, especially in case their warning signs were present but left unaddressed? This is a debate that will undoubtedly continue to unfold in the wake of this harrowing case. There you have it, folks. This is the first video of our series of weird cases in the US, and so comment down below and leave your like for us. We're Waterfront Gurus, and I'm out.
You'll be coughing up dandruff for 4 freaking months!